Imagine digging through an old jar of coins, and suddenly, your fingers brush against a copper penny that looks older than most you've ever seen. You turn it over, and the date reads 1935. At first glance, you might think it's just another common penny, but what if I told you that this single coin, the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny, could actually be worth much more than just 1 cent? Collectors all around the world are paying hundreds, even thousands of dollars for the right one. Yes, a tiny copper coin minted nearly 90 years ago might just hold the kind of value that surprises even seasoned coin hunters. The Lincoln wheat penny, first minted in 1909, has always held a special place in American history. By 1935, it had already become a coin loved by collectors and everyday citizens alike. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse proudly shows Abraham Lincoln, the beloved 16th President of the United States, while the reverse features 2 wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent. This iconic design was minted from 1909 to 1958, making the 1935 penny one of the mid-series issues. But what makes this year so fascinating is the combination of history, rarity, and condition that can elevate its worth to levels you wouldn't expect. In 1935, 3 major U.S. mints struck the Lincoln wheat penny: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each produced millions of pennies, but not all of them survived in high quality. The Philadelphia Mint, without a mint mark, made over 245 million of these pennies. Denver, with the D mint mark, struck around 47 million, and San Francisco, with the S mint mark, created just about 38 million. On paper, those numbers sound huge, but after decades of circulation, wear, and loss, finding one in pristine condition today is much harder than you'd think. Now, let's talk about value, because that's what excites collectors the most. A well-worn 1935 wheat penny might only fetch 10 to 50 cents, but here's where things get interesting. If you happen to own one in better condition, such as extremely fine or about uncirculated, its value can jump to several dollars. Still doesn't sound like life-changing money, right? Well, listen carefully. When you step into the world of mint state examples, coins that have survived for nearly 9 decades without ever being spent, the numbers start climbing fast. High-grade uncirculated 1935 pennies can easily be worth $20, $50, or even $100 depending on the mint mark and condition. But the real treasures lie in those certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC as being at the very top of the scale. For example, a 1935 Philadelphia wheat penny graded MS67 red has sold for over $10,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent turning into more than $10,000 just because it was preserved perfectly. And it's not just the Philadelphia issues. The 1935 D and 1935 S pennies also bring strong premiums when in gem condition. A Denver issue graded MS67 red has reached values as high as $6,000. Meanwhile, the San Francisco mint examples, especially in the finest grades, can fetch thousands. Collectors know these are tough to find with full red color, meaning the original copper shine hasn't faded into brown or dull tones. Those fiery red coins are the holy grail for Lincoln cent enthusiasts. But condition isn't the only factor that matters. Errors and varieties also play a huge role in determining the 1935 penny's worth. Throughout minting history, mistakes have always fascinated collectors, and the 1935 wheat penny is no exception. Double dies, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes can add hundreds, even thousands, to a coin's value. Imagine spotting a double die where the numbers in the date or the lettering show a clear doubling under magnification. That's a jackpot for collectors. Similarly, repunched mint marks on the 1935 D and 1935 S can turn a seemingly ordinary penny into a prized collectible worth hundreds of dollars. Think about it. This coin has lived through the Great Depression, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement, and countless historical moments. Every 1935 wheat penny you see today has survived through people's pockets, drawers, and jars for almost a century. That history adds an emotional and cultural value beyond just the price tag. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying a piece of America's story. Now, let's imagine a scenario. You're at a yard sale, flipping through an old coin album. You see a row of wheat pennies, and one of them reads 1935. It's got a beautiful reddish luster, sharp details on Lincoln's hair and beard, and no scratches visible. You negotiate a few dollars for the whole set, not realizing that the single 1935 penny inside might be worth thousands when sent for grading. Stories like this aren't rare, they happen more often than you think. And they're exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. Another angle to consider is investment potential. Many numismatists see Lincoln wheat pennies as one of the best entry-level collections, but rare high-grade examples like the 1935 can also be excellent long-term investments. The demand for U.S. coins, especially iconic series like the Lincoln cent, keeps growing. Auction houses regularly report record-breaking sales,